Sarasota, Florida, they all ride bicycles. You pay attention to your local bishop. He's the one that decides what's acceptable and what's not. Part of the farm. When that happens, then they pack them all up in the wagon and wheel it to another area of the farm. It's a win-win-win for the farmer. He feeds his free-range chickens. He gets rid of insects on his farm, and the chicken droppings fertilize the soil.
Wow. That's a wonderful idea.
If you look at the second tree in on the driveway of this farm here, that little gray shed, that's their phone shanty. That's where their landline phone is. The Amish are allowed to use telephones, but only for emergencies or business. If they have a landline phone for their business, like that is, they have to keep it in a shed like that. It looks like an outhouse. They have to keep it outside the house, the phone. They'll give their kids flip phones for emergencies, but when the kids come home, they have to put the phone in the barn. They think the Amish believe phones ruin family life. They interfere with it. So they will not have a phone in their homes. About old Amishmen dying with one leg bigger than the other from riding a foot scooter their entire lives. These are plow horses here. The Amish must use horses or mules to pull the plows and do the field work on the farm. They cannot use tractors for that purpose. They use tractors on their farms to power other equipment, but never to plow the fields. Those are Belgian draft horses, one of the breeds the Amish favor. They're a big muscular horse, almost like a Clydesdale, like the ones that pull the Anheuser-Busch beer wagons. Very big animals. As I mentioned, there are over 200 one-room schoolhouses in this area. We're going to see many of them on this tour. The first one you're going to see is tech. So a couple of the wealthier Amish here in Lancaster invested in a local bank, the Bank of Ferdinand. They sit on the board of directors of that bank. They have some influence with it. When the Amish community found out that bank was partially owned by the Amish, they all started banking there. On Saturday mornings, the drive-up windows of that bank, you'll see long lines of horses and buggies along with the cars. The joke was that every Amishman that went to that bank left 2 deposits. You get what I mean? I think it's stewardship. God gave them a beautiful house. They should take care of it for God. They landscape their properties beautifully. They also put green stacked up here. It's rolled baled hay wrapped in white plastic. The Amish drop them around the farm for the animals. They all use these. The Amish call them marshmallows because they look like giant marshmallows. Before they're cut into the marshmallow shape, they're in long tubes like these are here on the left. The machine that creates these is called a rolling baler. It was invented by an Amishman here in Lancaster in the early 1900s. On the fields on both sides of the road here, 2 weeks ago, these were fields of corn. It's all been harvested now. The Amish grow thousands of acres of corn. 95% of it is for the animals. It's field corn. They grow a small amount for humans. They use the corn to feed the animals. They use it for bedding in the barns for the animals. And as I say, over 1,000 acres they grow. Coming up on our right is another Amish farm and farmhouse. If you look behind the barns there to the right, you'll see more marshmallows there. As I say, all the Amish farms use them. Up here by that farmhouse, you see they have a vegetable and flower garden here by the house. Every Amish along the garage there, you see one of their scooters. They have large wheels like bicycles. As we go around this curve up ahead to the left, you'll see more marshmallows. They dropped them on the edge of the field here. As I say, they drop them all around the farms. More plow horses here. And the marshmallows. Here on the left, we have a pumpkin field. All the pumpkins out. That's actually on an Amish dairy farm. Directly ahead of us, across the street from the pumpkin farm, is a local orchard. This is not an Amish orchard. It's owned by a Mennonite company, Kaufman Orchards. As I say, the Amish have to use horses and mules to plow the fields. I don't know if you're aware, mules don't reproduce. The mule is a product of a mother that's a horse and a father that's a jackass. There's a joke in there, but I'm not touching it. See all the cows there? Yeah. See that one brown cow? The Amish favor these black and white cows. They're the Holstein breed. They produce more milk than other cows. The light brown cows are the Jersey breed of cow. The Amish like those as well, because the Jersey breed have high butterfat content in their milk, which is good for making cheese and ice cream, both of which the Amish are noted for. Over here to the left, you see the corn bin with all the corn for the animals. More marshmallows. Around the barns, you'll see a lot of dogs and cats. They keep them as pets. They also use them as mousers, catch mice in the barns. These farmhouses on the left belong to all this farmland to the right. And if you look here on the left, the green roofed barn building up here to the left, look at the door there. It's got a couple of scooters beside it. When we see 8 to 10 scooters together, we call that an Amish parking lot. See clotheslines in all these homes. These are Amish homes. Up on the hillside here to the left, you see some chickens around those buildings. In these pastures here to the right, you may see a couple of miniature ponies as well. The Amish don't allow their children to have bicycles. They let them have pony carts pulled by miniature ponies, however. There's another clothesline there. Look how high up that is. They're all on pulley systems. One end is reachable. Another Amish property here behind this white picket fence on the left. If you look down here by their driveway, behind the high wooden fence, you'll see another vegetable and flower garden. The women of the family tend the garden, the men tend the farm. There's a joke among the Amish, 2 things you will never find in an Amish vegetable garden. You'll never find a weed or a husband. Now the Amish grow a variety of crops. They grow corn, wheat, alfalfa, barley, soybeans. Their only pure cash crop is tobacco. They grow tobacco, they sell it to major tobacco companies. If you look here to the left, let's make this turn. Behind the corn crib here, the open barn door, you'll see they hang tobacco leaves from the rafters, golden brown, they'll sell it. When they harvest it, it's actually green. Coming up on our right is a classic Amish property. They have a shed up front here where they're selling fresh brown eggs, baked goods, honey, woodwork items, home and office. They had all the potted plants on these black watering mats up to about a week ago. They've sold them all now, they wholesale. They also have a business on this farm on the left selling bouquets of cut flowers. Their flower garden is down here by this piece of equipment here. House. These white buildings along the fence line here, these are outhouses. There's no running water in their schools. So they have an outhouse for the girls, an outhouse for the boys here. If your child went to that school and was thirsty during the day, you'd have to come out here by the swing set and pump water from the well. On that cement slab is the well pump to get fresh water. To the left of the schoolhouse there, you see a baseball backstop back there. Kids love to play baseball at recess. One of the Amish kids' scooters is still there, look along the fence. Now right next to the Amish, there on the left, sign up Inspirational Blossoms of that Amish property. They sell bouquets of cut flowers. There's one of the miniature ponies I was telling you about here on the left. That's a herd of Jersey cows there, the ones with the high butterfat milk. Now we have an Amish young man passing us on his scooter here on the left. Looks like he's coming from school. That's a stationary Amish hen house. The windows provide lighting and warmth. There's no electricity in that building. They have mechanical fans in the roof for ventilation. Modern hen houses are much larger than that. They're windowless because it's all electric lighting and ventilation. Here's the one-room schoolhouse here on the right. They rebuilt that about 20 years ago. That's why it looks rather modern. Up ahead of us to the right, we have an Amish farm. The big runaway slaves in the root cellar of that farmhouse. the modern English farm here to the right. Not only was that farm on the left a stop on the Underground Railroad, so was the property. Rent out the mansion and the property for weddings. It's a wedding venue. It's called Beachdale Farms. The main entrance to the place is right here on the left. They have the main gate, a beautiful tree-lined lane going down to the mansion here. It's on Airbnb. Last time I looked, to get about $900 a night for the place. As I say, people rent it out for weddings. It's a road. If you look to the right here, beyond the willow trees, see some red buildings up there to the right. That's an Amish dairy farm. Some goats in the pasture here to the right. More goats over here to the left in the farmyard. That's an Amish farmhouse here on the left, a big gray house. You have chickens back there behind the buildings, and sheep. There's a little Amish girl there by the animal cage there. Look how well landscaped this Amish farmhouse is here to the left. Here on the right, this yellow house with the black shutters, it's Amish owned. Amish house here. And it's kind of hard to tell it's Amishy, but the giveaway is the sheep on the front lawn right here, to the left. Up ahead of us to the right, tractor deal actually sells tractors not only to Amish, but to English farmers in the area. We have an Amish woman approaching us here on the left with her daughter, both on one scooter. They often do that. They let the kids stand in front of them on the scooter. Look at that. It's an old question. Do the Amish wear underwear? They always have it hanging out prominently here. The answer is yes, they do. They have a side business here selling fabrics to other Amish. If you look down the driveway there, you'll see a trampoline along with their swing set. The Amish kids love trampolines. Every Amish home has one usually. To the left. See a couple of their kids in the driveway there. Behind their vegetable garden here under the blue tarp, you'll see another trampoline. One of the boys has a baseball bat under his arm. Again, a beautifully landscaped home here. I showed you that one Doherty house where the grandparents were living with the rest of the Amish family, one big rambling house. When the Amish grandparents live with the Amish family, they either do it that way or they do it the way this family does across the bridge here, to the right. They live in separate houses on one compound. It's 3 generations of one family, and they all just hang around and socialize. So you'll see them on both sides of the road here. The buggies and the volleyball game were going on the left of the road. The men were talking and were just congregating here to the right of the road. Now you can say you've seen an Amish wedding. It's usually Tuesdays or Thursdays they have these, always in the fall or the winter when things are quiet on the farm. See, all the horses are missing from the buggies because they're off in a field to the left. This farm had canning vegetables. That's where all these buildings are here to the right. Weather coming. I asked an Amish farmer that. He told me no. They're just raising those cattle for ground beef. It's a test, see if anyone's listening. They're raising them for ground beef. It's a modern Mennonite church here. This farmyard here to the right has all kinds of fowl in it. Geese, ducks, turkeys, chickens, guinea hens. A lot of feathers. Now all this open land on both sides of the road right here is an Amish dairy farm owned by the Stolfus family. The Stolfus family bought this farm in the 1700s. The same family owns it today. They've held on to it this whole time. That's the crowd where they park their horses and buggies during a funeral service. Directly behind the corral is the Meyer Cemetery. The Meyer Cemetery is the oldest Amish cemetery in Lancaster. They've been burying their dead here since the 1700s. They still use it today. That is, believers in adult baptism. What that means is every young Amish person, male or female, has to make a conscious decision to get baptized to join the religion. They usually make that decision in their late teens or early 20s. Prior to that baptism, they live the Amish lifestyle out of respect for their parents, to admit. That's partially due to the fact they cannot watch television in their own house. But they can go to your house and watch television. He's 78. But anyway, I was kidding him. I said, so Eli, you're going down to Florida, ride your bike for a few weeks with your brother. He looked at me and said, Bob, what happens in Sarasota stays in Sarasota. And I roared laughing, and he kept asking me why I found it so funny. I didn't have the heart to tell him. That period of freedom called Rumspringa lends itself to some funny situations with the Amish. I was talking to an Amish buggy dealer one day. He was quite upset from a conversation he had that morning with a young Amishman in Rumspringa. The Amishman in Rumspringa told him he couldn't afford a used car like his friends, but he had an old buggy his grandfather left him. He asked the buggy. He was quite upset. Now these cattle are all winding up here for milking. They tend to do this automatically. They go to the barn, baling hay. Those gray buildings over there to the left is a very nice local hotel, Amish View, 4-star hotel. I heard it's pretty expensive as well, but it's very nice. Remember that peach orchard I showed you earlier on in the tour? Well, the fruit market for that company is right up here on the corner. They sell the peaches, apples, cherries, every fruit they grow in the orchards around here. It's Kaufman's Fruit Farm Market right here. And we're right on Old Philadelphia Pike again here, where the Amish walk. And here are the outlets here on the right. Directly behind the outlets you have farms. It goes rural real quick. If you continue on this road beyond our business, you'll end up in the town of Strasburg.